Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I'm back here on generational farming. Not a surprise, I'm quite sure. So I'm just trying to be as efficient as possible. Missed the pickup there and just messed everything up. Oh boy. Alright, well, we got the pickup down. We got that down. It's like every time I try to get fast, I just end up taking more time fixing it. So I don't know why I bother. But it's July, second cutting, so I've got a second day. At this point, I've kind of firmly established this is a 6-hour job. That is how long it takes to get all the grass mowed and thrown into the silos and everything else that happens with that. I think this will work. So that little bit is from a different direction when I was going across, but I think I'm finally ready to kind of start going up and down. So I did find last time when I cut, I actually made circles around the fields, in essence headlands, but it wasn't on the field. I was doing the borders. And that actually worked really nicely. The challenge is because it's not light, it's just more difficult to do. So I've kind of decided maybe I'm not going to do it yet. So over by the trees isn't done, because it was nice because I had that done. I had then several rows up at the top. I may still do that, because the other thing I've discovered is, like, if you mow to the edge, when you cross over somewhere, even if it's not your property, it's going to drop the grass. So I'm going to end up pulling up my mower here early and then going across a little bit. So I think that'll be it there. Because otherwise, like that pile there that's sitting there in the grass, that's how those appear, because they are dropped when I make that turn like I did over the grass. And so if I can avoid doing that and instead put the mower over something I can get to, I don't lose any kind of grass. Well, I'm dropping this down here, and this is kind of the perfect example, because you'll see I'm cutting. You can see behind me that there's cutting, but you can see there's no pickup going on, and that's because there's no drop going on. So at this point, I'm just accumulating whatever grass there is, and I do think there's a little bit of not much here, but to once again avoid any kind of temptation to go too far, because if I cut to this level, because I found even if you pick up the mower, it still drops it. It has nothing to do with the mower being down. So if I am going up and down, and the mower crosses into the road, by the time I turn around, I'm pretty much guaranteed to drop it somewhere that isn't mine. So now you'll see, I make this turn and see, it just dumped it, even though I have it picked up. So I'm going to have that giant pile there, which is fine. I'll probably come back and get most or all of it at this point, although now that tree's in the way, so I'm going to need to kind of come at it this way. And this will get, almost all of it. And so you can see it was almost 600 liters. I mean, it's not anywhere near as much. And yeah, that is, no, that's not all of it. So I'm going to go do this. And this is what takes a little bit of time. And I kind of hem and haw each time, like, okay, is this worth it? But again, it's 600 or 700 liters. Metric system rhymes too much. I don't know. So it just feels like a waste because, you know, I know for certain between all of these, I'm getting, as I think I've shared in the first time I did these, you know, I get 3 or 4 trailerfuls of grass on the border on this field. That's not all the fields. You know, I add the other fields, I get a couple more over there. So, I mean, I'm getting almost 100,000 liters of grass just off of kind of extra land that I own. So that is not anything to sneeze at. I mean, that ends up being, you know, $15,000 in the worst case. You know, and gets a lot closer to 20 faster than we might want to admit. So, yeah, what I was starting to do, I mean, what I want to do is get enough of a border here at the top so that I can then just do the rows. And then, you know, it'll be lighter before I finish this. Yeah, see, it looks like I just dropped a little bit there, even with what I did. So let me put this down. You know, I'll pick that up when I'm doing the rows on the next row over there. But like, I think at this point, like, this will be enough. This is, I think, about what I did. I might have had one more row, although I do want to come back, so I guess I will cut one more row, although this will probably fill me up. This is always part of the challenge, but this is what takes a while on these fields. But what I found is when I went around, you know, I kind of got all this dancing around with the tractor and the mower done, and then I could just do the rows, and then the field went quite quickly. And I may start, because I do need to go down toward the silo anyway, so it's hard with this brush to always see exactly where you're at, even in here, but I do this inside. I do the same thing along the other edge of the field, because it's just easier to tell. But these big bushes, you know, I'd need like a brush mower or something, so some of the smaller ones got taken out. Looks like we're about ready to get done here. There we go. So we'll pick that up, we'll go deliver, and then, I don't know, I'll come back and see what I can do. But that's going to be the majority of my work today. I don't know if I'll get to anything else. I did do a couple harvest contracts yesterday, which allowed me to pick up. I was going around to the back. I always get mixed up until I get a few loads in. This is only my 3rd load in here today. But again, it's the 3rd load with just the border, and I've still got a bunch left over there. You know, there's plenty of grass to pick up. But I paid down, I think, $15,000 on the loan. So, you know, it's not a ton, but it's something. And it was literally, I think, two jobs. So it wasn't anything incredibly large. Just trying to make sure I pick things up and that I'm doing what I need to mow as efficiently as I can, if that's possible here on the edge. But yeah, what I'll probably do is just I don't know. This is where it gets difficult, because it's like, well, I want to do this, but I've got that little mess left on the edge. Now I'm gonna, you know, and now I want to be mowing as much as I can. So I'm like, I don't just want to be driving along and spending more time moving along at 9 miles an hour, because invariably if I pick up of the trailer, which would allow me to go faster, again, then I fumble around because I'm trying to move quickly, and then I go too far, and I spend 30 seconds on the other end, and then it's like, well, did I really save any time? So I'm going to go and cut up the trees here, but I'm going to get myself as straight as I can, because otherwise I'm going to have the issue where it's not picking up. So yeah, I'll do this, I'll end up meeting the part I did, and then what I'll do is I'll run across the top. But yes, going back, the 15,000 is still something. I mean, it's 15,000 that I'm not paying interest on, which is, probably $50 or a little bit more, who knows. I haven't really paid that much attention. I know I was paying like $133 of interest the last few days, while I haven't really been able to do much to impact the amount I owe. But that will obviously start changing here shortly. I thought I was doing that, yeah. So as you can see, obviously the trees are not, this isn't a tree plantation, which is good. I mean, the intent is, if I'm a map designer, it's like, yeah, these are just trees along the road. Nobody took a ruler to it and said, yeah, let's make sure they're all, 3 meters away and follow the road perfectly. They did what they did, and that was it. Alright, so I'll probably cut a little bit here, because again, if I'm driving, I want to be mowing. I think I probably left a little strip, and that, that's the kind of stuff that then gets a little frustrating here and there. And then what I wanted to do is come around, cut this, get another row here. Now I can go back to my overhead, and then I think I've got enough here now. Well, I know I've got enough that now I can go up and down, and then be in good shape. Most of the silos were still operating from the last harvest, which is what I would expect. One of the small silos had finished. These were within, I think, 20,000 of being done. So, it's pretty close. And if it if they run within the 2, that's all well and good. I don't have a problem with that, because I just needed kind of the extra storage. Alright, so what I've got to figure out, I'm going to leave that pile. I was tempted to like swing around and do it. So I need to figure out. So it's this one. Yep. So 64, it'll probably be negative 61 to do my 3 that is my normal process. Alright. And now I will just start doing my normal mowing. So I've probably spent half an hour creating my word salad as I go through here and just try to explain what's going on and give you a little bit of content so that you can keep up with what's happening on generational farming. Because I'm trying to balance, while I was on yesterday, as I said, I was doing some harvesting, but I knew there wasn't much going on, and it was very sporadic. I was in and out because, I was in between things. So it wouldn't have been very clean to try to do any kind of recording at that point, because it would have slowed things down, and I had to get the work done, was the focus. So I'm trying to focus when I can, try to actually comment and make some word salad that doesn't have large gaps in it. But, I still have a lot of pauses here and there. I know that because I'm thinking of what I'm doing and thinking of other things I need to be doing with this and so forth, and so the vocal track stops So I try to avoid that. And a lot of times I'll cut it together, but many times, it's certainly easier from an editing standpoint to leave it be. So that's what I want to try to do. But at this point, I probably provided half an hour, and I was already doing things for a bit before I even started recording. So let me focus on this. That gets you enough of what we've got today. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do any further contracts today, because on a mowing day, it's just too much. But it just depends how the spirit moves me. So here's the challenge I've got here at the end, is trying to turn around. So just giving you a little bit of a view of how working this field has sort of evolved. But as I said, this isn't what I would prefer to do per what I tried last time. I really did like going around because it kept the mower down. Whoops, sorry, I think I just banged the microphone, so I apologize if that was loud. I was waving my arms, speaking with my hands, which isn't really effective on YouTube. I haven't found a way to get the hands into the video or anything. They need virtual hands that when you start waving things around, they just appear on screen. Wouldn't that be annoying? So it kept the mower down, and it just let me keep going, and it just, whether it was more efficient or not, it seemed more efficient. So this certainly was more disjointed, and that's why I want to start going up and down, because I want to start feeling like I'm making some progress. Because pretty soon I'm going to have to step away, and I'm not going to be done, and this is kind of how this happens, is there's just so much work on generational farming now that I've given myself, which is why, as in the last episode, I said, not going to make it this big. I'm not going to have 27 acres in the next generation. It's just too much, because I'm going to be straight up front. I'm hating it. It's too much. I actually this morning contemplated just, maybe I'll skip a grass cut, but I'm like, it just means I'm going to have 6 hours at some other point, and then I'm going to be sitting there kicking myself, like, why'd you skip the last cut? So I know myself enough that I just need to power through this until the generation is done. But by then, I'll be good and well hating it to the point where it's just never going to have a hope of being this large anytime soon. I also know myself enough to know that temptation's going to come along, and there's going to be, I'm going to be at 15, and there's going to be a 5 to 10 acre field nearby that I've been looking at for a couple years, and I'm going to have the funds, and I might fall prey to it again, but hopefully not, because this really isn't, it's taken a lot of the enjoyment out of this, where before I knew I could mix harvest contracts and this, so it gave me the variation, as I talked about, of working crops. It wasn't just the monotony of mowing grass. But this size has locked me into that monotony of mowing grass. So I would like to not do that, because otherwise it'll be a really unpleasant generational farming experience. So I babbled on enough. You know what I'm doing. You've seen what I'm doing. So I am going to let you go, and I will see you next time.